Most people think you need a ton of clients to get started doing consulting or freelancing, but the truth is, you don't. One great client might be all it takes to change everything. And I've had stretches where that's all I needed for my entire business in my life. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with your first or next client today. So, the first thing you got to do is you got to ride the wave, baby. And here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the market. The market has an energy, it has a flow, it has a place where people are going, and you want to be going in that same direction. So let me give you an example. When I started consulting back in 2012, when I come from the game industry. So back then, mobile gaming was just taking off. The iPhone had only been out a few years. We had our first few hit games, and every company, from the big ones to the ones that didn't even exist, where they wanted to get into mobile games. They wanted to learn how to make mobile games. I was lucky that I had all this experience doing free to play games for companies like Zynga and Ubisoft. And so I was able to get tons of clients working on mobile games. My experience was not actually before this in mobile games. At Zynga, I was doing Facebook and web games. And at Ubisoft, I was doing Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox games, but the market was in mobile games. And so I focused my attention there, and that allowed me to have a great run riding that mobile wave. And look, if you have been watching from a company and you've watched some friends or people you know who are in consulting, you might have noticed that they might seem to jump from mobile to crypto to AI, and you might roll your eyes, but there's a reason that they do that, because the market has an energy. And when you are solo and when you are a consultant, you have that nimbleness, you have that capability, you can get out in front of companies, and you want to get out in front of companies. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to need to change niches all the time, but right now you're getting started. So, how do we take what you know and what you do and apply it in a place where the market has that energy? That wave has power to carry you into the clients and the life that you want. So that's step one, is figure out where the market energy is and position yourself to be ready for those clients in that spot. Okay, so now you have a sense of how you're going to position yourself to ride that energy, right? Ride that wave. But how do we get started actually getting clients? Well, puppy, come here. Oh, you're heavy. Okay. All righty. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to contact people who already know you and like you. You've been working at companies, right, for a while. People know who you are. You've got people who maybe were your direct report and now they've risen up the ranks and they're rocking it somewhere. Or maybe people who they were bosses that you worked for who were good and who you actually did great work for and you had a good rapport. You want to reach out and talk to these people, and you want to find out in a friendly way, right? You're not pitching anyone. You just want to find out, like, what are you up to? What challenges are you facing? Hey, I heard you got that cool job. You know, what's going on? And you want to start having those sorts of conversations. And what you're going to find is that people, if you're probably good at what you do and you probably built some trust. So people like that are few and far between. And so when you reach back out to that boss, or when you reach out to that former direct report, they're going to be excited to talk to you, excited to tell you what's going on, and they're going to trust you and they're going to have some stuff to tell you. So this is one of the best ways to get started. And one thing I've noticed with people in consulting is, I would say a good 50% of the time they got started going right back to work for the company that just let them go. Like, oh, we had to let you go, but we want to hire you as a consultant. Or as soon as they were on the market, someone reached out that they had already worked with, who knew them and wanted their help with something. So we're going to generate that for you even before you leave your job, potentially, by having these conversations. So go on LinkedIn, check out what people are up to, go to a conference, start chatting with people. And really, you will be shocked how you will find your way into opportunities if you are asking people about their challenges that they're facing. So that is the second step to get started. Connect with people you already know. Let's go on to third step. The next thing that I've got for you is really good. I bet you haven't thought of this, and it's actually how I got started consulting. So the way that I got started consulting is when I was working at Zynga, I was one of the people on the team. So I was managing a team of about 12 designers. Some were in-house in San Francisco, some were in Texas, and some were third-party companies that we had contracted out to. And I found out that one of those third party folks was a fellow who was actually living in Cancun, Mexico, and was just doing his own thing. And I thought it was the coolest thing I ever heard of. And I told him, hey, there's going to be a day that's going to come where I'm going to call you and I'm going to be like, well, how do you do this? How do you live in Mexico and do game design for Zynga? And that day did ultimately come. And he took me on as an associate for his consulting company. And so that's the thing I'm suggesting to you. So now that you know how you're going to ride this wave, right? One of the best ways to get started is to contact agencies, consulting companies, boutique firms in that space, in your space, and see if they're interested in having you as an associate, because that position as an associate at a consulting firm is something that is not usually an employment kind of thing. It's usually a contract role. And what you're going to find is they will often be very receptive to bringing you on because they're only going to pay you if they have work for you. So it costs them nothing to say, hey, come on board and be a part of our team. And they can sometimes leverage your skills and experience to sell new clients, and they live off that arbitrage. So it's creating opportunity for them, and for you, it's going to allow you to understand the consulting business, see how they sell, see how they get clients, see if you're delivering to quality for them. The odds are you're delivering above what they deliver. So it's a really good way to get started in the consulting business. And you can literally do it today. You can just find out who is already selling services in your area, doing what you do, call them up, send them an email, whatever it might be, and say, hey, are you interested in having me as an associate? Here's my background. Here's my LinkedIn. I'd love to talk about it. I'm new to consulting, but I think I could be really valuable for your agency. And you are going to be shocked. They're going to be very into you. If you have the experience and the skills, then that's actually a really valuable commodity. And that's how they run their business. They have those people and they find clients. So they bring them together and they need folks like you. That is one of the easiest, fastest, never talked about strategies that you can use to start consulting right away. And if your company allows it, you could potentially do that without leaving your job. You could still be working at a company and be doing on the side, working at it with a consulting firm or an agency. Now, you have to make sure that's okay, but I certainly know plenty of people who have done that to get their foot in the door or just to make some extra income. So awesome technique, awesome strategy, easy to get going today. And I just urge you to take action. If you are going to do one thing from this video, I'd love to hear what it is. Let me know down in the comments. Please subscribe. Please get started in your journey, because you can live an amazing lifestyle as a freelancer, as a consultant, without being capped in your potential. And I just want you to get started and have fun. I'd love to hear about it. Subscribe. See you in the comments. Catch you later.